Have you ever loved someone so deeply that their silence began to echo louder than their words? Have you ever felt that strange moment when love, once steady, once warm, once sacred, starts to tremble beneath your feet, and you can't tell if it's fading or transforming? Tonight, we enter the hidden temple of Taurus energy. This isn't just another zodiac story. It's a journey through the soul of the bull, an ancient symbol of devotion, patience, and unshakable loyalty. But even the bull, the most grounded of all the signs, can reach a moment when his heart grows weary, when the love he once guarded like sacred earth begins to feel like dust slipping through his hands. Before you look away, listen, because what you're about to hear is not about endings, it's about understanding. It's about the quiet, invisible signals that the universe sends through a Taurus when his spirit begins to detach, when his peace becomes more valuable than his passion. And if you've ever loved a Taurus, or been one, this message holds the key to something you've been trying to name, but never could. Stay until the very end of this journey, because what unfolds here is more than astrology, it's revelation. Each moment will bring you closer to truth. Each word will open a door you didn't know existed. And by the final breath of this story, you will not only understand the Taurus man, you will understand yourself through him. Imagine the bull, ancient, grounded, steady as the earth beneath him. He builds love with patience, like a craftsman shaping clay into something sacred. But when that love stops nurturing his soul, when it no longer feels safe, he begins to shift, slowly, silently, with the power of the earth moving under the surface. It is not anger. It is not hate. It is the moment when spirit whispers, "It's time to return to yourself." And so begins the story we often ignore, the story of emotional exhaustion hidden behind serenity. Because when a Taurus grows tired, you won't see the fire of destruction. You'll feel the calm of retreat. His silence isn't coldness. It's prayer, a way to protect what is left of his energy, his essence, his sacred rhythm. In astrology, Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of love, beauty, and value. But Venus in Taurus is not the fleeting kind of beauty that disappears overnight. It is the kind of beauty that grows from patience, from trust, from truth. So when that truth cracks, when loyalty becomes routine instead of devotion, the bull begins to walk back into the forest of himself. This journey we are about to unfold is not just a list of signs, it is an initiation, a spiritual decoding of the 8 sacred clues that reveal when a Taurus man's soul starts whispering, "I am tired." These are not obvious signals. They are the sacred languages of energy, vibration, and silence. They are the echoes of his inner world, trying to realign with peace. Stay with me, because every detail you hear tonight could be a reflection of something you've lived through, or something you're living now. And sometimes, the most powerful healing begins when we finally see what's been trying to show itself through love's quiet fading. So take a deep breath. Allow your heart to open not to fear, but to understanding. Because once you truly see the spirit of Taurus, you will never again mistake silence for indifference or stillness for the absence of love. You will learn that sometimes silence is the highest form of truth. If these words already stir something deep inside you, write in the comments below, "I honor my peace, and I recognize my worth." Sign 1. The earth grows quiet. You know when the air changes in a room? When you walk in, and something feels different, he's still there, but the warmth is missing. That is the first sacred sign that a Taurus is growing tired of you. It is not loud, it is not dramatic, but it is unmistakable. The silence begins to expand. It is like the earth holding its breath, waiting, listening, deciding. Taurus is ruled by Venus, the planet of beauty, affection, and emotional abundance. When he loves, He doesn't just say it, he embodies it. He talks to you about the future, about comfort, about the next meal you'll share, or the next dream you'll build together. But when his heart begins to drift, those conversations fade like an old photograph losing color. He still speaks, but the spark has disappeared from his words. You may notice that his texts come slower, his calls shorter. He may no longer ask about your day with that same golden curiosity. The Taurus man values consistency, and when that rhythm is interrupted, it is never accidental. It is a vibration shift, a subtle rearranging of his emotional energy. He begins to retreat into the quiet, not because he wants to punish you, but because he needs to find his center again. Taurus does not handle chaos well. When he feels unbalanced, he returns to stillness, just like the earth returning to its natural state after a storm. This silence is his way of grounding himself. He is not trying to make you chase him. He is trying to reconnect with his peace. Yet to the one who loves him, this silence can feel like distance, like standing on opposite sides of a canyon, shouting words that never reach each other. If you listen carefully, this silence is not the end. It is the message. It tells you that something within him no longer feels safe enough to open. Taurus energy will always choose peace over noise, reflection over reaction. When his voice softens and his eyes stop reaching for yours, it is not out of coldness. It is his soul saying, "I am tired." Sign 2. The touch that doesn't land. Taurus is one of the most sensual beings in the zodiac. He experiences love through the senses touch, taste, scent, sound, sight. When he loves you, you feel it everywhere. His hand on your back feels like a promise. His presence feels like gravity. He touches not just your skin, but your spirit. Yet, when that energy starts to fade, his touch begins to change. It becomes lighter, quicker, almost absent. The embrace ends before your heart is ready to let go. This is the second sacred sign, the loss of warmth and physical connection. A Taurus man may still hug you, but you'll notice that something has gone missing. The soul that used to reach for you through his hands now feels like it's holding itself back. He may still lie beside you, but he's not with you. His body is there, but his energy is somewhere else, wandering quietly in the landscape of his thoughts. This change is never random. Taurus is an earth sign. His love language is physical security and tangible care. When that connection begins to fade, it is not because he has stopped caring, it is because he no longer feels inspired to give through touch. The tenderness that once flowed so naturally has met resistance, and that resistance is his spirit protecting what remains of his emotional reserves. If you ever notice that his touch feels empty, it means he is no longer using it as a bridge between your worlds. In the spiritual sense, Taurus withdraws his energy like Venus moving behind the clouds, still beautiful, still there, but hidden. The body is honest. It never lies. When his body grows still, when the familiar gestures lose their warmth, that is the unspoken confession that words could never carry. To understand a Taurus, you must understand this truth. His silence and his touch are sacred languages. They speak of peace, fatigue, longing, and self-preservation. When he stops reaching for you with his words and his hands, he is not trying to wound you. He is trying to protect the fragments of his own peace. Because for Taurus, love must be safe, steady, and full of life. And when it no longer is, his soul begins to seek new soil where it can grow again. Sign 3. The shift in routine. Have you ever noticed when someone stops showing up in the small ways they used to? When the rhythm that once held your days together begins to falter, like a song skipping its beat? That's how you know a Taurus is quietly pulling back. For a Taurus, consistency is sacred. He builds his love through ritual, the morning messages, the shared dinners, the small traditions that make ordinary life feel like home. But when a Taurus starts to get tired, those rituals begin to unravel one by one. He stops checking in at the same time. The plans that used to bring him excitement start to feel like obligations. You might think he's just busy, distracted, or preoccupied, but deep down it's something more spiritual. His energy is no longer anchored in the connection. He is beginning to loosen his roots. You see, Taurus is ruled by Earth. His heart thrives on structure, stability, and repetition because they give him a sense of safety. When that safety begins to feel uncertain, he instinctively withdraws his energy from the routines he once created. It is his soul's way of protecting him from a cycle that no longer nourishes him. It's not an act of rebellion, it's an act of preservation. He will not announce it. He will not explain it. He simply begins to fade from the rhythm of us and moves into the rhythm of me. That's how Taurus lets go quietly, naturally, and without drama. His absence in your daily patterns is the universe's whisper that something deeper is shifting beneath the surface. The stillness is not random. It is alignment. It is the earth rearranging its landscape after too many tremors. And when you start to notice the spaces where his effort used to be, understand that those gaps are not empty. They're full of meaning. They tell the story of someone who gave everything he could until his spirit asked him to stop. For Taurus, love without peace is no longer love, it's imbalance. And when that balance disappears, so does his willingness to keep the routine alive. Sign 4. The defensive calm. This one confuses people the most. Because when a Taurus reaches his limit, he doesn't shout, he doesn't explode, he doesn't beg to be understood. He becomes calm. So calm, in fact, that it can feel unsettling. It's as if all the noise of conflict, all the effort of explaining, has dissolved into a silent ocean. That's when you know his soul is building its wall not to punish, but to protect. The defensive calm is not peace, it's armor. When he's tired of fighting for clarity, when he no longer believes that words will bridge the distance, he retreats into this quiet strength. You can speak, cry, argue, but he'll remain composed, his eyes soft yet distant. That calmness is his shield. It's how an earth sign defends himself from emotional earthquakes. To understand this moment, you must remember something essential about Taurus. He values peace more than victory. When the relationship becomes a battlefield of blame or misunderstanding, he no longer wants to win. He wants to end the war. His silence in those moments is not surrender. It's a spiritual declaration that his energy will no longer be used for chaos. He starts agreeing to things just to avoid confrontation. He lets small issues pass without reaction. But this is not forgiveness, it's detachment. It's a sign that he is emotionally checked out. Inside, he has already packed his bags, even if his body still stands in the same room. This is how the bull prepares for departure with grace, not destruction. Many mistake this calm for maturity, and in many ways, it is. But beneath that stillness lives exhaustion. He has fought, reasoned, hoped, and finally, he has chosen silence. It's the silence of self-preservation, not indifference. Because for Taurus, once his peace is threatened, nothing else matters. Not the argument, not the apology, not even the history. Peace becomes the only truth left standing. And in that truth, the Taurus man finds his closure long before he ever says goodbye. That is his nature. The earth does not need to shout when it decides to shift, it simply moves, quietly, but forever. Sign 5. The loss of sensuality. There is something sacred about the way a Taurus loves through the senses. You can always feel it, the softness in his hands, the warmth in his voice, the way he notices the smallest details of your being. For Taurus, love is not just emotional, it's physical, spiritual, and deeply embodied. Every touch is a prayer, every look an affirmation. But when his soul begins to grow weary, that sensual devotion starts to fade, like a candle slowly losing its flame. This is not about simple affection. This is about the energy behind it, the invisible current that fuels closeness. When a Taurus is in love, his presence feels magnetic. The way he holds you feels like safety itself. But when he begins to detach, that magnetism turns into politeness. He may still offer gestures of intimacy, but they lack that deeper spark. His kisses may still exist, but they no longer carry the warmth of devotion. They are motions without meaning, habits without heartbeat. You might notice he no longer lingers after a touch. The long embraces that used to feel endless now end before you are ready to let go. The nights once filled with laughter, with closeness, with the rhythm of shared breath, begin to grow quieter. That's when you realize it's not the absence of love you're feeling, it's the withdrawal of energy. The Taurus man, ruled by Venus, starts to conserve what remains of his emotional power, saving it for his healing, his rebuilding. In truth, this moment is not cruel, it's sacred. Taurus does not give his sensual energy lightly. When he starts to withdraw it, it means something inside of him has shifted. He no longer feels the same safety in surrendering himself. His body becomes a vessel of truth before his mind even admits what's happening. And that's what makes this sign so powerful. It teaches you that the body speaks before the words ever do. When Taurus grows distant, you can almost feel the absence of Venus, the goddess of beauty and pleasure, slowly stepping back into the heavens. What remains is the quiet shell of devotion that once burned so brightly. This is not rejection, it is transformation. The soul of Taurus is protecting its sacred flame until it finds the soil where it can grow again. Sign 6. The stubborn detachment. There comes a point when Taurus, the most loyal of signs, decides that silence is safer than trying again. This is the moment when his famous stubbornness transforms from strength into distance. Once his heart reaches this stage, it is nearly impossible to convince him to return. His energy becomes rooted in self-protection. He is still polite, still composed, but emotionally, he has already crossed the river. This detachment is not impulsive. Taurus does not let go easily. He stays until every piece of him knows there is nothing left to build. When that realization arrives, something inside of him closes like a heavy door, quietly, but permanently. You can speak your truth, cry your tears, offer your explanations, but his energy will not move. It's not that he doesn't hear you, it's that his heart has already chosen stillness. This is where many misunderstand the Taurus man. They think his silence means indifference. But no, it means he has felt everything, too deeply, for too long. His stillness is the result of emotional exhaustion. He cannot argue anymore, not because he doesn't care, but because caring has cost him too much. The bull stands still not out of pride, but out of spiritual necessity. The truth is, when Taurus detaches, he is entering his sacred space of reflection. It is his way of saying, I need peace more than I need this connection, and he will not be rushed or convinced otherwise. The more you push, the firmer he becomes, like the mountain refusing to move for the wind. His energy becomes calm but unreachable, steady but closed. Spiritually, this is one of the deepest lessons Taurus teaches, to honor stillness as a form of power. He reminds you that sometimes silence is not a wall, but a boundary made of wisdom. When he grows quiet, when he stops chasing resolution, he is protecting his inner garden. The soil that once grew love now needs time to rest, to regain its strength, to prepare for new beginnings. And so he stands there, firm as earth itself, not out of anger, but out of reverence for his own peace. Sign 7. The material distancing. When a Taurus begins to detach emotionally, it is not only his words or touch that change, It is his actions in the material world. This is where his love becomes visible in its absence. Taurus expresses affection through tangible gestures, the small gifts, the shared meals, the attention to comfort, the quiet ways he says, "I care," without needing to speak it. But when his spirit starts to tire, those gestures slowly fade away, like leaves falling one by one from a once vibrant tree. At first, it's subtle. The little acts that used to feel effortless start to disappear. Maybe he no longer remembers your favorite snack. Maybe he forgets to check if you got home safely. The man who once made sure your world felt secure begins to assume you can handle everything on your own. His heart is not cold. It's simply retreating to protect its last reserves of peace. Taurus gives through the physical realm because that's where his love feels real. When that giving stops, it means his emotional investment has been withdrawn as well. This is the material distancing, a quiet but undeniable sign that he is no longer building with you. The dinners he used to cook now turn into takeout meals. The careful attention to your comfort becomes distant politeness. It's not that he doesn't care anymore. It's that the energy of care has shifted inward. He is starting to rebuild his foundation, piece by piece, within himself. You see, Taurus has a deeply spiritual relationship with the material world. For him, giving is sacred. Every small gesture is an offering of energy, an extension of his soul. So when he begins to pull those gestures back, it means he is conserving his spiritual resources. He is returning his love to the temple of his own peace, no longer investing it in a connection that feels unbalanced. It's not rejection, it's realignment. The bull does not abandon. He reclaims what is his when it's no longer honored. When you start to notice his effort fading, you are witnessing a transformation of priorities. The Taurus man is grounding himself again, anchoring in his own energy after giving too much of it away. This distance is the beginning of his rebirth. It's the moment when he chooses self-worth over routine, when his love for peace becomes stronger than his attachment to what once was. Sign 8. The still goodbye. The last sign does not come with tears or confrontation. It comes with quiet. When a Taurus finally decides to leave, he does not announce it, he simply begins to fade. There is no argument, no dramatic exit. One day, you'll just feel that the connection has become a shadow of what it used to be. That is the still goodbye. It is not a punishment. It is his soul finding its way home. He will not vanish cruelly. He will drift gently. Conversations grow shorter, replies softer, until silence becomes the new language. You might not even realize it at first because Taurus never wants to hurt anyone. But slowly, you'll notice that he no longer shares his thoughts, his plans, or his laughter. The man who once brought you comfort becomes distant but peaceful. This is how Taurus says farewell, with grace, with calm, and with an almost sacred respect for what once existed. It's important to understand that for Taurus, endings are never impulsive. By the time he reaches this point, he has already grieved in silence. He has processed every emotion quietly, until peace becomes more precious than presence. When he leaves with acceptance, not bitterness. His goodbye is not about winning or losing. It's about honoring the cycle that has completed. The bull walks away only when he knows that staying would dishonor the love that once was pure. In astrology, Taurus embodies the wisdom of the earth. It knows when to bloom and when to rest. His still goodbye mirrors the rhythm of nature itself. It's like the fall before winter, where the world grows still so it can be reborn again. The Taurus man's departure is not the end of love. It is its transformation. He carries gratitude for what was, even as he turns toward what will be. When the Taurus leaves, he doesn't close the door with anger. He closes it with peace. He walks away not because he stopped caring, but because his soul knows that silence is sometimes the only way to protect what remains sacred within him. His goodbye is quiet, but it's eternal. It echoes in the spaces where love once lived, reminding you that some endings are not destruction, they are divine completion. So here we are, standing in the quiet aftermath of all the signs, the silence, the distance, the still goodbye. And maybe you're wondering, what is the lesson behind it all? Why does the universe send us people who love so deeply, only to teach us how to let them go? The truth is this: every soul we meet is both a mirror and a message. The Taurus man, with his unwavering loyalty and grounded love, arrives in our lives to teach us something sacred about patience, stability, and self-worth. And when he leaves, he continues to teach about release, renewal, and the unshakable peace that follows surrender. Taurus energy reminds us that love is not only about passion, it is about presence. It is about building something real, something that lasts beyond words. And when that energy shifts, when it begins to fade, it is not a punishment, it is divine alignment. It is the universe gently guiding you back to the soil of your own heart. Because sometimes, losing someone who was once your foundation is not the end of the story. It's the beginning of remembering your own strength. Every ending with a Taurus is an invitation to rediscover your center, to learn to stand still without fear, to trust that you too are made of earth, strong, steady, and full of life. The pain of their distance is not meant to break you. It's meant to awaken you. It's a call to your higher self, whispering that love must evolve, not just survive. When the Taurus walks away, he leaves behind silence. Yes, but within that silence lies your transformation. Take this moment to breathe. Let the stillness settle into your chest like the rhythm of the earth. Feel how life continues, even after the leaving. Because endings are not voids, they are thresholds. Taurus teaches that growth does not always come with noise. Sometimes it comes with stillness, with patience, with a quiet faith that something new will bloom in the space love once filled. If you are healing from the loss of a Taurus, let his energy inspire you to rebuild yourself from the ground up. Love yourself the way he once loved you, fully, consistently, without hurry. Tend to your own spirit like a garden that deserves care. Feed your soul with small joys, simple beauty, and calm truth. That is how you honor what was. That is how you rise from what has ended. You are not alone in this journey. Every soul that listens to this message carries a story of love, of release, of rebirth. You are part of a collective healing, an awakening para, all who seek to love in ways that honor both heart and soul. So lift your head, breathe deeply, and thank the stars for what they've shown you tonight. Because even in endings, there is grace. Even in silence, there is music. And as this chapter closes, know this truth above all: peace is not the absence of love. It is the proof that love once existed. It is the gentle afterglow of something sacred that changed you forever. So walk forward now with calm faith and open spirit. Trust that what is meant for you will always find its way back, in its own perfect time, in its own divine form. If this message spoke para your soul tonight, stay with us. There are more journeys waiting, more signs to explore, more light para discover. Watch the other videos on this channel and continue walking this path of spiritual understanding, self-awareness, and cosmic truth, because your story, just like the stars, is still unfolding.